2017 had a lot of great films, so let's count down the best of them. First, I want to point out that I haven't seen every movie that came out this year, so I might have missed a few. And also, this list is just my opinion, so you're not going to like every movie that I liked, and I'm not going to like every movie you like. All that aside, here's my top 10 movies of 2017. Number 10, Get Out. When I first saw the trailer for Get Out, I wasn't really that interested. It didn't really seem like it would appeal to me. But then a friend of mine saw it, and he said that he couldn't decide if it was horror or satire. And I had no idea what he meant by that, until I actually saw it for myself. The movie takes the idea of PC racism and blows it up to an extent that's either horrific or hilarious, depending on how you view it. The concept becomes so ridiculous that you either fear that it could happen, or you laugh at the ridiculousness of it. It's not the scariest movie of all time or anything, but it's a very intelligent social commentary that gets you thinking. Number 9, The Hitman's Bodyguard. This movie didn't do as well among critics as it did among just your average audience, but I thought it was fun. It's got genuine emotions and characters, and the character chemistry between Samuel L. Jackson and Ryan Reynolds makes it really entertaining to watch. And it's got a great lesson on perspective, which really made me stop and think about some things. Number 8, It. It wasn't really that scary to me, to be honest, but that didn't matter at all. It honestly really reminded me of The Goonies, just with the killer clown. All of the child actors are phenomenal in it. About an hour in, I tapped the person next to me and went, "Those are kids, I completely forgot." They're just that good. I could have done without all the cheesy CGI, but honestly, Pennywise was his scariest when he was just smiling at you. Number 7, The Disaster Artist. I've been a huge fan of The Room for almost a decade now. Ever since the Nostalgia Critics review, I've been obsessed with this movie, and I'm proud to say I've done my part spreading the news around. This movie does such a fantastic job. It took these people that we had turned into caricatures in our own mind and reverted them back into real people with emotions that we could relate to and understand. I know exactly what he felt like when he was on that rooftop. No, not that rooftop. The other rooftop in real life. Okay, never mind. Number 6, Blade Runner 2049. When I first saw the trailer for this movie, I immediately put it on the list of sequels that nobody asked for or wanted. And then I put off watching it for a long time. I didn't even see it until like a week ago. And then when I saw it, I was amazed. I've never seen a sequel come out this far apart from the original and actually be this good. I didn't even think it was possible to make a good sequel 30 plus years later. This movie does justice to the original in every way. It's got new interesting concepts, it's got great characters, and all the actors are actually invested. When was the last time you saw Harrison Ford invested in a role? Number 5, Darkest Hour. What more can I say about this movie than Gary Oldman is nothing short of brilliant in it. Some of the best acting that I've ever seen in my life. When I first saw the trailer for this movie, I was confused why there were no big names in the movie. But then halfway through the trailer, the words Gary Oldman pop up in the middle of the screen. And I did a double take. I said, "Where is he?" He completely disappeared in this role. You couldn't find him anywhere. I would watch this movie simply based on the performance of Gary Oldman alone, but everybody else holds their own too. It's a great movie and just a lot of fun to watch if you're a fan of film or great performances by actors. Number 4, Logan. I've been a huge fan of the X-Men movies since the beginning, but this was the best one. Not only did this do justice to the name of the X-Men movies, it expanded upon it and did it even better. It would be easy enough to just lean back on what they already established in the past decade and a half, but this movie expanded upon it, made it even bigger, made it even better, and went places with these characters that at times was hard to watch. But I think it was the best way possible to send off these beloved characters that we've loved and watched for so long. If a movie about guys with claws can make me cry multiple times in the theaters, you're doing something right. Number 3, Mother. This movie caused a lot of controversy, so I didn't see this one right away either. I let the reaction die down a little bit before I dove in and saw it for myself. I'm not sure what half the other people watched, but what I saw was one of the greatest social commentaries ever. Now I know you need to understand the religious context of this movie to fully grasp what they're talking about, but the commentary on humanity as a whole was amazing in this movie. There were so many throwaway lines and throwaway visuals that had me wanting to pause the movie and stop and think about it. I get it, if you take this movie literally, it's terrible. But it's not literal, it's figurative. And when you understand what it's talking about, it becomes amazing. And regardless of your thoughts on it, you definitely can't get it out of your brain for a long time. Number 2, Baby Driver. Baby Driver is one of the best technically made films I've ever seen. Edgar Wright took one of the most cliched Hollywood ideas of a movie and turned it into a movie without any cliches. This movie is visually pleasing, mentally pleasing, and emotionally pleasing. It's honestly some of the best writing and directing that I've ever seen. If this story had been made by probably anybody else, I wouldn't have been interested at all. But because Edgar Wright did it, he made it amazing. How many movies about getaway drivers are there? Now, how many of them are actually good? This one's different, and it's amazing for it. Number 1, Dunkirk. This movie may possibly have invented a new genre of war movies. The non-linear storytelling format that Christopher Nolan brought to this movie completely changed everything about perception. Instead of the standard format where you see characters, learn about them, and then they get saved, this movie showed them getting saved and then showed you who they were. So as they were getting saved, you related more to the people saving them than the people actually being saved. But then it gives us the perspective of the soldiers to show us that there's another side to the story. The British people chose to view a mass evacuation and retreat as a victory rather than a defeat, and that shaped the entire war from then on. How you choose to view things changes everything about what actually happened. And that concept is shown perfectly when we see the two soldiers interact with the blind man. The first soldier takes a couple of seconds to assess the situation and then come up with an opinion in his mind. But the second soldier takes a moment to look closer and find out what's really happening. The two of them saw the same event, but have completely different opinions of what happened. And that's just one of many reasons why Dunkirk was the best movie of 2017. Well, that was my top 10 list of 2017. What was your favorite movies and why? Comment your top 10 list below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm Simon from Simon's Rants, and that was my rant for today.